Welcome everyone. This is NKBA and this is Debbie Mayberry, and you're here for our third webinar of the month of October, called it's about storage solutions. Today's session is called Designing a Wardrobe/Laundry Room for Accessible Storage: Lessons from the Universal Design Living Laboratory, with Rosemarie Rossetti, who's a PhD as well as CLIP certified. She is the president of Rossetti Enterprises Incorporated, based in Columbus, Ohio. And Rosemarie, if you're ready, we're ready to get started. Thank you.
Well, thank you. As interior designers, I'm sure you're looking for solutions for space design and would like to know more about how you make a house accessible and inclusive in its design. So what I'm going to be doing is changing things up here a little bit. I see that something else is interfering, Debbie. Let me go back and see if I can get that to stop. There we are. We are looking at my home in Columbus, Ohio, the Universal Design Living Laboratory. This home has been toured by over 3,000 people in person. The room that I'm taking you to is probably the one that is talked about the most of any of the rooms in our home. It is the wardrobe laundry room. It is the master closet. When the women come in, they keep saying, I want my husband to see this room. And of course, when the men come in, they say, I don't want my wife to see this room. So I'm going to be sharing with you some ideas for innovation to make storage accessible in the master closet and in the laundry room. So come on with me on a tour and we'll understand my situation. If you don't know, I use a wheelchair for mobility. I had an accident June 13th of 1998. You're seeing the photo from the bike trail and the headlines from the newspaper and my bike helmet. Suddenly, a 7,000-pound tree fell on top of me, leaving me paralyzed from the waist down. That changed my life and my business, of course, forever. So I've been living my life out of a wheelchair since '98. The house I was living in at the time didn't work. Having a spinal cord injury left me to the point of using a manual wheelchair. My injury is something that I had to deal with. And coming home, this was the home we were living in at the time, a two-story home. It later had an electric porch lift put on so I could get into the house. But realistically, half of the house was inaccessible to me, especially that laundry room and my master closet. It was very difficult for me to use the washer and dryer, and very difficult for me to roll into the master closet to get anything that I needed independently. So this home was not going to work, and Mark and I, my husband, decided to design something that would work for both of us, and that became our national model, the Universal Design Living Laboratory. As you're working with spaces and creating the ideal solution for your client, you're thinking in terms about how the space is used. As you look at kitchens and baths, there's multiple users in those rooms. As you think about this room, which is a combination of master closet and laundry, it has the same functionality in that multiple people are in here perhaps at the same time. And so space is very critical in kitchens and baths as well as in this laundry room closet. And as we go through the slides, I will show you where the spaces are critically needed. So where do you get the space if you're designing a whole home? Maybe you can take some space out of the hallways or the foyer, maybe out of the great room or out of some of the bedrooms. But we need the space in the kitchen and bath, and I'll make a case for this wardrobe and laundry room also. As you're working with a client, then you're asking a lot of questions about their need for the house, if it's for their family, if they have extended family, if they plan to stay in here and live in place and use this as their final home so that the home functions for them as their forever home. So these questions need to be asked so that you understand as you're designing the spaces how critical universal design plays a role. Defining universal design. Some of you are familiar with the term, others may not be as familiar. So at least we start with this basic definition. Ron Mace was an architect. He used a wheelchair for mobility due to having polio. He came up with the term in the 1980s and assembled a group of like-minded designers and specialists and architects and actually came up with the definition and the 7 principles of universal design. What's very special about this definition, and I've highlighted it here, is that it's for all people, not just a person like me in a wheelchair, so that the design looks like it's part of the thought process. It's good design. It's not putting adaptations in or medical devices. We're trying to make it look beautiful design, inclusive design, usable by everyone. The 7 principles of universal design were copyrighted in 1997. They're easy to find. I've got them on my website, and certainly to search the internet, you'll get more information about these 7 principles. We'll be displaying many of them in the photos of my wardrobe at home, and you'll see how the space and size and the approach fits me and my husband Mark, and you'll see how things are low in physical effort. As we look at space planning, here are some parameters to think about. Basically, I'm looking at that 5-foot turning diameter, that circle that I can use to completely do a 360 in my wheelchair. I use a small wheelchair, as you'll see later, and so even 5 foot is a lot, but many people using power wheelchairs will need a larger turning space for a power wheelchair. We're also looking at the minimum space in front of toilets and sinks, and you'll see that in my home, there is a sink there. The average adult can reach 48 inches high. They don't like to go below an 18-inch because they'll lose some balance. So that impacts where we have placed things in this room, whether we're putting things low or high on shelves that are reachable for me from my seated position. My wheelchair cushion is 18 inches high. It's a little lower than the average, which is 20 inches high. And I am 4'2" as I sit in the wheelchair, but the average person is 4 feet. This again impacts your design. So come with me on a close-up look at the home. It is a 3,500 square foot home. It's on an acre and a half in Columbus, Ohio. It does have a clear story served by an elevator. We have the equivalent of 4 bedrooms on the first floor, as well as a full basement with another bedroom and bathroom and a classroom. As we look at the house, it is currently the top rated home in North America, earning these 3 universal design certifications. In addition to universal design, our home is very green and was awarded the LEED Silver certification and the NAHB Gold certification on the National Green Building Standard program. So this home fuses universal design with green building. And you'll see that Mary Jo Peterson was our kitchen and bath designer, as well as designed this wardrobe and master closet laundry area. I met Mary Jo at the National Association of Home Builders International Builder Show in January of 2005. At that time, she was speaking at a conference, and I was in her audience. I had the floor plan with me for our home, and I asked her at that point, will you be our kitchen and bath designer? And she, at this point, said yes and began working and interviewing me for the project. She was a big part of the team. Another major designer was Anna Lyon. She is here in Columbus. She was our interior designer for the entire project, making sure everything blended together. We took her with us to a lot of showrooms, parades of homes, and helped us picking out the finishes and fabrics and colors throughout the house. In addition, we had a stellar team, our architect, Patrick Manley, with his associate, Kathy von Volkenberg, who was our feng shui consultant. We met many hours in the kitchen of my previous home, looking at many different sketches and designs to create a custom home that would serve Mark and I and be a good demonstration home for others to learn from. The floor plan, as we look at the house, we can see where the wardrobe and laundry fits into the scheme of things. I'm circling that with my arrow. It is adjoined by a pocket door that goes into my office, and it is adjoined by another pocket door going into the master bathroom. So it's very convenient as our master bedroom and master bath are here. You can see the master bedroom is actually smaller than our wardrobe laundry. But it is very convenient as we get up in the morning and use the master bath and then come into the wardrobe to put our clothes on. More detail. I leave this up for a little while so you can take a look at it. This is the blow up of the wardrobe laundry room. You can see here the red circles in the dotted line. Those are those 5-foot turning diameters that I mentioned earlier. I asked Patrick to put that on the floor plan throughout every room so that we could guarantee that I had that turning radius. You can also see there's a center island that's 14 feet by 20 feet, and that is a key component for storage in this accessible room. We'll go into more detail, but you can see that there's shelves and rods on the perimeter. There's a sink there for hand washing. We have our washer and dryer here and our ironing board. So let's take a look at what this room actually looks like beyond just the floor plan. Our laundry and wardrobe was a very innovative idea that combined the thoughts of all of our design team to say, let's not separate the laundry room from the closet. It made more ergonomic sense for us so that I didn't have to put clothes in a basket and tote them to another part of the house. And when it's time to pack and unpack, that the luggage was there too. So it made sense to us to do this. Introduce you to my husband, Mark, later. He is 6'4". I am 4'2" in the wheelchair. I can stand as long as I'm holding on to a shelf or my walker, and I am 5'1". Our height difference then indicates there's going to be some need for specialized concerns because Mark wanted to be able to reach his clothing and I needed to be able to reach mine equally. And that's where universal design came in. Taken during construction, you can see our floor is still covered. We have a hardwood floor, a hickory. The center island is now here for you. As I mentioned, this room is 14 by 20. You can now start to see the skeleton of the storage space. You can see where the rods are positioned. There are 3 different heights of rods. As you can imagine, Mark's clothing are going to be up on the top and mine are going to be on the bottom. There's also shoe racks there on the left corner, as well as open shelving. You can see that there's holes and pegs, so all of these shelves are adjustable in height, making this very accommodating. Taking more detail, again, during construction, now you can see the parameters of the size of this center island. It is significant that the height is only 33 inches. That was a great compromising height for Mark and I. For me, I do most of the laundry and fold clothes right there on that center island. When Mark is packing luggage, he puts his luggage on the island. I put luggage on the floor. You can see that transition between the master bathroom and this room, as well as the mirror is there on the wall, the full-length mirror, helping to put an outfit together. Let's move a little further now to when the room was finished. This was early on in the when we moved in May of 2012. So we've been here now 7 years. The house took 32 months to build. Mark and I were the general contractors, never had built a house before, and believe me, we will never build another one. We had over 200 sponsors, companies that provided products and services in order to build this home. As you can see, things are stored on the open shelves. We felt that was easier than having a door on the cabinets. We also wanted to make sure there was plenty of lighting with 12 LED lights on the ceiling, as well as some lights from natural lighting. Mark said, I want to see navy blue and black and tell the difference. So he wanted to make sure there was plenty of lighting here. So as this room is developed, let me go into some detail now that you've had a chance to see my clothing on the lower rods and Mark's is up on the top. As we look at down on that center island, we had the radius corners. This is a safety feature, of course. As you look at the purpose for the center island, this is where all of our socks and underwear and our dirty clothes hampers are. The thought is put all of the clothes in this room so that you don't have to go back into the master bedroom to get any clothes out. So when it's time to select an outfit, everything is here that you're going to need, either to wear or to pack. These drawers are full extension drawers. And you can now see me in the wheelchair in terms of how the height at 33 inches is so accommodating for me. As we pull those full extension drawers out, just a little overview of that to see the hardware that was used. We have drawers that are 3 inches deep, as you can see here, the first two drawers, and then the ones below that are 6 inches deep. There are a total of 12 drawers in this center island. The toe kick was important to me, and you can see how I can roll right up to the center island. That toe kick is 9 inches high and 6 inches deep. That is significant for me so that I can roll into the center island and face it. And I have the best reach possible because I'm closer with my knees now touching the cabinet door. In my old house, I didn't have a toe kick like that in the kitchen, and so I always had to approach the kitchen counters sideways, and that's not ergonomic at all, very tiring. Kiko is our photo bomber. I'd introduce you to her. She jumps up here a lot on days when I'm doing laundry or mending clothes. She finds it an accessible height also. I appreciate the valet rods that were put in. Those are handy when we're packing or just putting an outfit together for the evening. It's very convenient as I put some things there and know that I've got the outfit put together. Again, a close-up of seeing Mark's slacks and how they're at full length with that rod and all of his shirts up at the top and his jackets and blazers. We do have the 3 different heights, so to give you a sense of how high they needed to be. For my shirts, 43 inches from the floor to the rod was sufficient. For Mark's shirts, we are 86 inches high from the floor to the taller rods. For Mark's slacks, as well as you can see my longer dresses, that rod is 68 inches from the floor to the rod. That has made our lives easier. And you may ask, Rosemary, can you reach the hangers on those 68-inch rods? And absolutely I can. I just reach up, grab the end of those hangers and can lift up and get those things off. Now, can I reach things on the 86-inch high rod? No. That's where I have a very simple tool that you'll see in a little while. For storing Mark's ties, we have a pull-out unit, an accessory that was just bolted in, and that slides out for his use. Here's the tool that I use to get his shirts up or down. It's just simply a shepherd's hook. You probably see these at a lot of the department stores. So I just grab the shepherd's hook and hook one of the hangers and pull it down or put the shirt away. It's very convenient. Now, granted, it takes me a little more time, but very seldom do I need to access a shirt for Mark or put a shirt away. He does that on his own. Underneath Mark's slacks, there's room so that I can store my ankle foot orthotics. I can walk with assistance and I can bike. So you're seeing my bike shoes with the orthotic there and my walking shoes. So that extra space has provided room for me. It's also nice that these closets are designed so that all that floor space is open. And it's a lot easier for vacuuming to just quickly go underneath and keep that area clean. Mark's belts are on another accessory that just hangs next to his slacks, and those rotate 360 degrees. Mark's size shoe is a 14. Mine is a 6.5. So when we pack luggage, I can put my shoes inside of his. Now, the 4 racks on the bottom shelves were designed as shoe racks, and they're at a slight angle, so it's easier to see the shoe from a distance. Then we started accumulating more shoes and then decided, well, we'll just put more shelves up there. We could just add more shelves, adjust the bins, and just keep adding more shoes. So that's worked out very well. I put Mark's shoes up at the top and mine are down at the bottom. This is my former home. What a mess this was. This is the entire width of that closet. You can see jackets on my left shoulder, and you can see a pair of pajamas and shorts kind of laying there on the right side. Things were very difficult, very congested. Things had to be just thrown up to those baskets for storage. The house just was not working at all in terms of my former closet. A consideration we had for the new closet, but we did not use it, is this piece of equipment. It is a product on the market for accessible reach, so that the entire closet rod comes down by just grabbing the handle and pulling it. But as we started using our closet and realizing the shepherd's hook was using an easy solution for us, we decided not to invest in this. But for those of you who would like to make this as a consideration, it is out on the market. So I'm stopping here, Debbie, and let's see what has transpired in this period. Is there anything that's come in that people want to know more about or have a question?
Rosemarie, I don't see any questions just yet, but if anyone wants to post one, I did ask earlier.
Okay.
More than welcome to post.
All right, we'll keep going, and we'll save time at the end if there is a question. Thank you. We're looking now at the side wall. This is the east side of the home. We get wonderful morning sun through those transom windows. We wanted lots of natural light, but privacy. Here you're seeing the washer and dryer on the raised pedestals. We have the sink to the left with knee space underneath and the full-length mirror. On the right, that is a little storage unit that I've heard is no longer on the market. It had the little white drawers pulled out for additional storage. And then we have storage for anything coming out of the dryer that needs to be hung for the finished drying so that it isn't wrinkled. And anything that is wrinkled, then I keep there for the days that I will be ironing. So these are some universal design features and the storage that's included. Another look again during the initial build so that you could see more of that space and a little detail there on storing clothes that come out of the dryer, and also some shelves there that can store some of our sewing equipment and supplies that we need to iron clothing. Here's a little close-up of what's in the drawers. It's basically cleaning products. Originally, we left the space under the sink open like that, but someone suggested later that we put a curtain in front of it to hide that. We were always keeping our clothes baskets there for additional storage of dirty clothes, as well as the empty baskets. and I keep my luggage there too. So that was a great storage area, but we wanted to figure out how to hide it, and you'll see later where we put the fabric over that as a curtain. That was a solution. Our cat found it to be a great hiding place. Kiko's clubhouse, she kept going inside and jumping in the clothes baskets. She loves sitting on dirty clothes. So anytime we were looking for her and we couldn't find her in the house, we'd go, look in Kiko's clubhouse. She may be in there. So fortunately, she wasn't in there the day we took pictures, but this is how it looks today with the cloth there hiding some of the things that we store there. It's just so convenient to have luggage in the same room where our clothing is. So when we come home, we take the dirty clothes out of the luggage, we throw them in either the hamper that's built into the center island or in under the sink in the clothes baskets. So saving time, very convenient, make life easier. These are the dirty clothes hampers that were designed on the end. They're right next to the washer and dryer. They've been great. There's two little narrow drawers. They're like only an inch or two deep that are above them, so they slide fully out. They have the D handles, as all of our hardware are D handles. We're finding that's very easy for people with arthritis or paralysis to grab hold of and use as a handy device. What I've done is segmented my clothing. So the one on the left is for whites, the one on the right is for non-whites. So on laundry day, the laundry is already pre-sorted. I can take those laundry baskets totally out. They just slide out, and I roll them over to the washer and empty them totally into the washer, and makes life a lot easier and quicker for me. Here's a close-up of our hardware for the doors there on that hamper area. They are self-closing, soft close, very convenient. We've got these on throughout the house on all of our cabinet doors. Another look at storage and lighting. We're starting to see how things are arranged on our shelves, and you're starting to understand the circulation, and getting around this room is very simple. I took a picture here just last week to show you how I can reach. And in this case, I was able to get that pair of shorts down at 54 inches. Not everyone can, as I mentioned early on. Typically, that sweet spot is no higher than 48. So realistically, I'm reaching at 54 inches when I'm touching that blue pair of shorts, but that shelf is down a little lower. I can't reach any shelf above that without standing up. And so oftentimes I might have to stand a little bit if I'm storing something that's mine. Or I'll use a reacher, a device that grabs something on a taller shelf and pull it down. But it made more sense for us to just delegate. I've got the low shelves, Mark's has the taller shelves, and everything is fine for convenience sake. So thinking in terms of measuring your clients to see where they can reach in terms of their minimum as well as their maximum is appropriate. On ironing day, I can take this right out of its storage unit. This is made to be installed in the wall if you want to actually recess it in the wall. This entire ironing cabinet is very organized. Or you can put it on the wall like we did. The company we worked with to design this had not heard of universal design and was very responsive to our request. I asked them if we could have them design an ironing board that was adjustable in height. And they said, sure. And that's what we have here. You can see on the left-hand side on the inside, there's a little track. So all I need to do is lift up on this ironing board to put it at a higher position if Mark's going to be ironing, or to leave it here at the position for seated ironing. Now I can iron from either going around to the left side and ironing facing to the right, Or that entire ironing board pivots and I can totally rotate it 90 degrees. If you can imagine that, turn it to the left 90 degrees, now having the narrow end on my right, and now I'm facing the organization unit. So that has some flexibility. What was also important is that I could plug the iron in myself, having that outlet at a reachable height, having the push button for the light, as well as the shelf for the iron and the spray starch. So they were very creative in coming up with the solution, and it was actually on display at the International Builder Show a year later. So kudos to companies that understand they can make products simpler and universal in their design. Here we were at the International Builders Show the next year. This is the only photo you'll see of Mark ironing. Fat chance he's going to be ironing at our home. That's something he doesn't like doing. But you can see here how it was adjusted at his height. Very convenient for him. For those of you who would like to understand more about our home and these wonderful products that are there, I have a special link on our website. Our website is UDLL.com, the Universal Design Living Laboratory. As you can see, there are many tabs across the top of our website. So you can learn more about the house. You can see that floor plan again. You can go to the list of contributors, and that's what I'm highlighting here, is that fourth tab over. As I mentioned, there are over 200 contributing companies that are listed here for your convenience in alphabetical order so that you can see what they contributed and have a link to their website. I think you'll appreciate going through the list of contributors, not only for this room, but for the entire home to see what products we prefer and use in our home. The next tab is articles. Many of you are reading the articles that I've been writing on a monthly basis for NKBA. If you haven't, they're all there in that article section. So they're in order based on date. Most recent article is first. Not only have I written for NKBA, but for many, many other trades. So there's over 100 articles. I think you'll find more information about universal design and accessible design and have some wonderful resources for you. In addition, we have a description of my programs and services as a speaker. We also have a wonderful tab called Resources. You'll find links to all kinds of other organizations, checklists, books, and other information that I found and wanted you to know about. The next tab is Tours. If you'd like to take a tour of our home virtually, we do have a tour that Google did for us. There's over 700 photos that were put together so that you can actually take your mouse and go inside our house and zoom in, zoom out, and see this wardrobe in more detail later at your convenience. There's also videos in terms of replays of some of my webinars and other videos there. We also have a video tour that Mark did. So please go to udll.com and learn more about universal design, accessible design, and the Universal Design Living Laboratory. I have for you a free chapter, and the chapter is from my Universal Design Toolkit. This chapter is very significant in that it lists all of the universal design features in my home, room by room. So you'll see by going to the wardrobe, all of the features that I've been showing you through these slides that are there listed for your convenience. And of course, that's a great tour. So if you want to use that free chapter, you just download it by going to udll.com and downloading it. But then you can go on the virtual tour and have that free chapter in front of you and go through the whole house looking for these features. I think it's a great checklist. And of course, if you're more interested in the full copy of the book, that information is at udll.com. I am a speaker, and for your consideration, if you're knowing someone that's having a conference, I speak about universal design and accessible design. I'm also a motivational speaker, so feel free to refer me to others that are looking for a speaker that's a keynote or breakout speaker. The virtual tour starts here at the front door. This is what you'll see when you go to the virtual tour on our website. So you can see that X on the grass. You just take your mouse on that X, and all you do is start moving your mouse to the front door. And once you're in the front door, you can take your mouse anywhere throughout the house and begin your tour. It also goes outside into the landscape. There's a door that goes from the great room outside, so you can go out and look around at the patio. And you can also take a tour to the lower level, which is our basement, having the classroom, bedroom, and another bathroom. The set of stairs is by the pantry, so go on down the stairs in your virtual tour, and you can tour there also. You can play a game while you're on the virtual tour. Our cat Kiko that you've seen was our photo bomber there, and she's in many of the rooms also. So feel free to take a look at Kiko and zoom in around the house to see what you need to see to understand the complexity of this home and what makes life easier for everyone. So my contact information is here. As you consider a question now, we'll take some. If you think of something later, I'm happy to engage in conversation with you at another time to either give me a call or send me an email. Debbie, I'm not sure what you've got at this point. Let's see if something has come up and we'll go a little deeper on the questions.
Okay, Rosemary. Yes, we have a couple. And as you mentioned, we're continuing to take some more. So feel free to type those in. So here is one. Would you have considered a custom elevated stand for your washer and dryer that would have a higher toe kick so you could get closer?
It's not needed. I don't need the toe kick because the space is quite adequate. I'm getting very close, so the toe kick is not a factor in this case. I liked that we could just buy the drawers that came with the washer and dryer. The same manufacturer made them, and I thought they were the greatest height for me. Opening the door on the washer and just, you know, very easily putting the dirty clothes in there. I've never had a problem, so a toe kick was not needed. And as we looked at putting a custom pedestal in there and custom drawers, that price was going to be significantly higher than buying what came with the washer and dryer. So those were the components of decision making for that.
Okay, here's another. How do you manage ventilation with the laundry machines in the same room as the clothing?
We do have a ceiling fan, same ones as we have in the bathroom. So we put the ceiling fans in those rooms so that we can aerate. We also have a operable skylight in that wardrobe. So not only does it let natural light in, but it's a remote control. You just push a button and that skylight opens to let ventilation in. And if it rains, it automatically closes. Now, I got to tell you, we thought there'd be more humidity built up by the washer, and that's why we put the fan in. I think it was required for the green building on our LEED certification also. But we have found that washer was so well built that the humidity is not coming out during operation, and that fan has never automatically gone on. The only time I think I've ever used it is when I'm doing hand washing and using maybe a bleach or an ammonia product where I'll turn that fan on for ventilation. So humidity has not been a problem. We've monitored it with devices in there. It's advisable to put one in, I think, um, for practicality, but it's not necessarily a humidity concern with the modern design of washers today.
Okay, and here's some more. Did you consider moving the water hookup from above the counter to behind the washer?
It would not be accessible. So that was out of the question. It is an unsightly looking set of hoses. But we realized that if I needed to be able to access it, if it was behind the washer, it is not accessible, and it'd be very difficult for Mark also. So it was a purposeful decision to put it on that back wall where I could reach it. We also have some special valves there so that should there be a problem with the washer where there is a hose that's broken or something, we have an automatic shut-off valve there that will turn that water off. So it only turns water on when the washing machine is on, and it turns water off when the washing machine is off. So it's a electromagnetic type of valve system.
Okay, and sort of a follow-up to that question is not from the same person, but so about accessing, how is accessing the controls and loading the laundry detergent into the washer and dryer? Is that, I think they're asking the question, how is the access for you, someone like you?
Yes, the that was a big consideration when we shopped for the washer and dryer, that all controls had to be reachable and visible from a seated position. And when we started shopping, the determining factor for most of the washing machines was where is the detergent to be placed. And many of the washing machines had the detergent dispenser on top and on the back towards the rear of the washing machine, and I could not reach them while I was seated. This particular washer, I can reach that easily. So I just simply open the top corner. It's on the left-hand corner. I just pull that out, and there's a dispenser for the laundry detergent, the bleach, and the fabric softener, and I can reach that easily. In addition, all the controls are up front. They're lighted, and there's also sound oftentimes associated with it, with beeping sounds to let me know that the machine is started, let me know that the dryer has stopped. So that has been easy. I caution you when you're ordering washers and dryers and putting them side by side on the hinges and which side you're putting the hinge. We wanted to make sure that when I take something out of the washing machine that it has a left-hand hinge on that door, but a right-hand hinge on the dryer door so that they didn't get in the way as I transferred from the washer to the dryer.
Okay, there's one more question here about is there a drain in the floor near the washer and dryer in case of overflow or leakage?
Yes, there is. There's a drain underneath the washer, and we had a custom built pan out of metal put under the washer and then had it custom painted to match the hardwood flooring. As we started looking for the pans that fit under washers at the time, they all looked terrible. They were just going to be such a color contrast to the flooring and stand out. Most of them were white. So what we did was put in something different, and a custom pan was made and custom painted so that it just blended right in. But there is a pan there, there is a drain there. Debbie, I'm not hearing you. Are you saying something?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So what do you use those tiny 1-inch pullouts above the built-in hampers for?
I have my washcloths there. They fit very nicely.
Okay. And someone wants to know what the company name is for the ironing board that you were talking about?
That is Iron Away.
Oh, okay, great. Here's another question. If you have an apron on anything, how high works for you and what is the depth for your chair?
Clarify that. I don't know what they mean by an apron.
Uh, I am not sure. Let's see. I'm not sure if that means like it can Could you qualify the question, please? You're asking about the apron. Just would like to do that. Someone's asking you to show the laundry room slide again. Could you do that, please?
Yes, which, do you know what view they're looking for?
No, it doesn't say. And then here's the
Okay.
question. The apron is the fascia below the countertop. That's what they're talking about.
Um, let's see if we go to below the countertop, the apron. Again, I'm not sure what an apron is, and because I'm not a designer, that term doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay.
Let's go back to, they wanted to see something, maybe that picture. I'm not sure what, if they want to see another picture, can you tell me what you'd like me to show you?
That's the one with her at the
Okay.
washer. The one, no, it says the slide with you at the washer and dryer.
Okay, let's go back to that one. That one there.
Probably.
Okay.
So getting back to yes, that's the one the person says. So getting back to this apron question, um, it's like a shelf with a depth. I think that's kind of, they're trying, I think what the question here is trying to figure out, how high works for you and what is the depth for your chair when you're, motivating around shelving and different types of countertops and things like that. Is
Okay.
there something?
Countertop wise, we went with 33 inches. Um,
Okay.
I don't know if that is helpful or not.
Okay. All right.
And the depth of those storage closets, let's go back and look at some of those where I keep my clothes. Let's look at some of those that were on the shelf back in those early. Yeah, you can see the depth of those shelves. It's basically taking a t-shirt and folding it, and we just wanted them to fit there nicely.
Okay. Is there any like particular thickness that you had asked for? Someone was asking about that.
No,
No. And
there
I
was
think,
no particular thickness. We knew what we were storing there was just lightweight clothing. In terms of the shelf thickness,
hmm
um,
and then someone else is commenting here is that maybe we're looking for the amount of clear leg room that's needed when you're moving around in this particular room.
well, I like that 5-foot turning diameter. That gives me total flexibility, and it's totally around that entire center island.
Okay. Okay. That's, let's see if there's anything else here. The height, oh, okay, someone's saying, I think she means the height of the front or fascia, the drop of the countertop. What is the height of the front and
Oh,
or
where the
drop?
knee space is that what
Mhm.
they're asking
I
under the
believe
sink?
so. I
Okay.
believe so.
Okay. Um, That's that's going to be dependent on the person in terms of how high their knees and how tall their wheelchair is. So I have a tape measure right now in my office, and I'm looking at from the floor to the top of my knees. And again, I'm a petite kind of person in a short chair. I need about 25 inches. That's the height of which the top of my leg is about 25 inches from the floor, but not everyone's going to be that way. So I need to be able to slide under and have 25 inches there, if that's helpful.
I think so. So it's
Okay,
basically
thank you.
a measurement of the client, actually.
Yes, and
Yes.
also the width of their wheelchair is also going to be a configuration under the knee space under those sinks. Not all wheelchairs are going to be as narrow as mine. And here again, I'm sitting in the wheelchair from from where I put my hands from each of the big wheels. I take about a 23 inches, almost 2 feet, just with the wheelchair in terms of the width.
Okay. Well, Okay, someone's asking, would it be 8 inches from the top to the bottom? From like the top of the counter to the bottom of the shelf? I'm not,
I'd have to go in there and measure that. I don't have
yeah,
that
yeah,
memorized in
yeah,
terms of, I've got the countertop at 33 and my knee needed the 28 inches. So you could probably make some calculations based on that. There's
right.
some space under there.
And that's going to, again, vary from client to client.
Yes, it will.
Yes. Great. So someone just made a comment here. Great presentation. Interesting that so much space was left for future needs. Good planning, especially in marrying such a nice tall man that can use the shelf that's vacant. Kudos to you both.
Thank you.
Okay, and one of the good things here that somebody's commenting about here is most of the universal design regulations are, thank you for saying this, are in the NKBA design guideline book. So those are available here. And I don't mean to make a plug, but we do have the NKBA guidelines books, which are actually being revised, but second edition is here. So, and it includes information about knee space, et cetera, those types of things. So again, unless there are more questions, I think we'll wrap this up, and I want to thank Rosemarie for all of this great information and all of you for being here. And again, want to thank Gebrit for their generous sponsorship for today's session. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Debbie.